Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Today we are discussing about classification of services. So here, one of the 14 marks very important question for the final examination. It's about classification of services. Right, sir. So when we are going to discuss about the classification of service, the question will get raised as like, do we need to classify the services? Because anyway, service is so intangible. The services definition itself is being quoted as such like service is an activity or benefit offered by one person to another which is essentially intangible and does not result into the transfer of ownership. Correct? So here, degree of intangibility. So into the perspective of degree of intangibility, the question will get raised. So what exactly this intangibility is all about? Anyway, service is purely intangible. Only we can feel that. We cannot see, we cannot touch. Only we can feel. So, on what consideration degree of intangibility is being taken? Yes. Again, three different considerations are there with respect to that degree of intangibility. First thing is about purely intangible. Sir, what is that purely intangible? Yes, sir. We were discussing as such like only we can feel. We cannot see, we cannot touch. Yes, purely intangible. Probably I can go for taking a simple example. As such like softwares are available. Maybe when we are going to make use of those softwares, we are going to feel so happy. Especially nowadays, I could able to check it out with few of the mobile applications where the music applications are there. So happy to see all those. Okay, so when we ourselves, when we are going to start playing those kind of music applications of that a guitar, tabla, or else flute, so we are going to feel so happy, correct? So here, degree of intangibility, our happiness is involved in that feeling what we is being raised and the satisfaction what we are getting it out of that, correct? Then the second point after that purely intangible. The second point is about partially intangible. Sir, what is this partially intangible? I can go for taking up the consideration of this online class itself. So here, my students can claim that yes, you have not taken up any consideration for this online class. Yes, sir, I have noted down the attendance, whomsoever they are present today. Correct? So even the things are going to be as such like partially intangible where we can able to see, we can able to touch, even we can able to feel partially intangible. That feeling is also associated. Okay, so the importance equally being shared. That is the major point here of degree of intangibility. The second sub point what we were discussing is about partially intangible. We can able to touch, we can able to see, we can able to feel at the same amount of time. The third sub point associated here, that's about purely tangible. See, tangible in the sense only we can see, only we can touch. Yes, sir. So what kind of that purely tangible is all about in the services? Is it so essential? Yes, sir, it is essential for any kind of materialistic purchase. 100% sure we are trying to focus on those materials, quantity, quality, correct? Maybe I would like to buy a four-wheeler vehicle. My immediate first question will be how much amount of the quality the product is having, correct? Then even my second question will be whether the services are available for that. Even though if it is yes, I'll start asking for the clarification where the services center is located. See, assume that the services center is located at Chennai. I'm residing at Bangalore. Are we ready to purchase that four-wheeler vehicle? Never to be. Why? Sir, by chance, if the vehicle breaks down, do we need to take that vehicle till the place of Chennai for getting the sales service? That's going to be a biggest question mark. Correct? That is how the degree of tangibility is associated. So here today we people are taking the major consideration is about degree of intangibility. So three subpoints we have covered today. One is about purely intangible. Second point is about partially intangible. And the last point is purely tangible. Correct? So 3 points were associated. Then about the next point is about producer versus consumer services. So what exactly these producer services are all about and consumer services are all about? Maybe people have heard about B2B, business to business, and B2C, business to consumer. So here, the classification based upon producer versus consumer. So what will be the major difference here? Anywhere we supposed to give service, correct? Here, into the producer service, majority of the time, we need to start looking forward into the consideration of what kind of products we are offering to our customer, one who is running his own business, which may not be a finished product for him. Maybe whatever you're supplying to another business, that is a finished product for you, correct? Whereas that may not be a finished product for that businessman, one who has purchased from you. He will be there in the expectation of services. Sir, how come this producer service is so important here? See, as like consumer services is so important for the retail sales, producer service also is so important for bulk sales. Okay, so probably you are one of the producer of oil brakes, disc brakes. Okay, so you are producing disc brake in the sense whether only two-wheeler segments they are restricted to you, whether only four-wheeler segments are restricted to you. That's going to be the biggest question mark. In the two-wheeler segment also, whether only one company is restricted for you, correct? So when you are going to take the consideration that it is quite important to locate the service for consumers, even as like the same, it is so important even for producer service also. So this is how the classification of services Today, we people were able to complete two major points. The first point is about a degree of intangibility, and the second point, producer versus consumer services. Okay, thanks to everyone.